Welcome everybody to our first weekly series after a long break. So today's a very special day because today we listen to Joseph and we listen to Joseph's story. And so I'd like to start first of all by asking Joseph to introduce himself. So tell us about yourself. Yeah, just give us an introduction about who you are, what you do. Yeah.
I'm Joseph, yeah. So this is Joseph here. I think
Mhm.
if a couple of us have attended my sessions, I do talk about DevOps, about building stuff. Yeah,
Mhm.
so I think, let me just start. Feels like a job interview though. Okay. Yeah, so Joseph, a very
Mhm.
old guy, as you can see, a very old guy here. Uh, I think I took my studies, or I pursued BSc IT from Maseno University. I
Mhm.
left in 2019. Yeah, so that is basically in academic wise. In terms of
Mhm.
working, if I may talk about in terms of working, I think the first job I landed was back in 2016. I was still a first year. Yeah, so I started working as an infrastructure engineer in a small startup called Cryosoft Corporation. Since then, I think up to date, been working there part-time. And then in 2019, joined a company called Savannah Informatics, a very popular company here in Nairobi, Savannah Informatics, where I worked as a backend engineer and also as a DevOps engineer. Then joined another company called Fuga Africa as a DevOps engineer, specifically DevOps, nothing else, just DevOps. Then currently I am at ARC Ride, that is affordable, reliable, and clean. It's an electric vehicle company where I work as a backend and DevOps engineer. Yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
Wow, this is so many. It's a big resume.
Not very big, not very big.
So, tell us about the company you work for now. So, what do they do? Yeah, just give us some information about them.
Yeah, sure. So at Arkride, as I said, it's an electric vehicle company. Yeah, so we deal with EVs. Uh,
Mhm.
yeah, basically EVs, that is assembling and selling them. Yeah, so in terms of what we basically do, that's it. So it involves a lot of engineers. So it's a company of engineers. We have mechanical engineers, mechatronic, we have automotive engineers, then we have the software side, because I think we all know that electric vehicles, I think it's more of software than hardware. Yeah, so we have a lot of software engineers, some based in Kenya, some based in London, others in China, in Nigeria, and Ghana. Yeah, so we are two-wheeled vehicles, three-wheeled vehicles, and also sell them. Yeah, but the main business behind it is the battery as a service, that is the swap stations. When you talk about substations, you are talking about a petrol station of EV vehicles. So it's a swap station where if your charge is depleted, you go and swap with a new battery or a battery which is fully charged. Yeah.
Oh, wow, interesting, interesting. Actually, just to link that with recent events, we've had a lot of spike in absorption of electric vehicles here in Kenya. So I believe you guys are actually solving that problem. And a lot of people are now moving from petrol cars to electric powered vehicles.
Yeah, sure. In fact, I was sent by my boss, and he told me to tell you guys that we are, we've reduced the price of our version one of motorbikes, so you can come for them at a very cheaper price. Yeah, so yeah, yeah, we are selling them, and
Yeah.
yeah, especially for the guys who are working around or they live along Wayakiwe guys. Yeah, so you can come and get one of the electric vehicle or electric bike, which will, take you to job. Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting. I hope the people in the call can actually come and visit your offices. And yeah,
Yeah, sure.
absolutely. In that company, you are a DevOps engineer, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Tell us about your history. How did you start off with both Vue.js and DevOps? Like, give us how you started off with that. Give us the
Yeah,
story behind it.
yeah, sure. So in fact, let me just start with Vue.js because I think this community is all about Vue.js. And yeah, and I'm happy to see one of the people or one of the members who have joined is John Kamau, the person behind my Vue.js. Yeah. So basically, as I said, I'm a backend and DevOps engineer, not necessarily fronted, but as we all know, Vue.js is a fronted framework. And yeah, this guy here, John Kamau, is the person who told me, you know what? We have Vue.js, which is very fast, very simple to learn. It's lightweight. And because, I'm a DevOps engineer, my work is to deploy work, to deliver products. And yeah, so I had to do the comparison between
Hello, Mr. Gideon. Poa sana.
building an
Ai,
application.
sahi hata ndio naingia Kamito.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, so I had to do a comparison
Nani ako na huyu?
between relax, man. Yeah, so I had to do a comparison between building a Docker image for a Vue application and other JavaScript frameworks. And yeah, I noticed building a Docker image for Vue was very fast as compared to maybe say Angular, which has a lot of node modules. But when it came to Vue.js, it was very fast. Yeah, so I was fascinated. So what happens behind the scenes, or what happens in Vue? Then Kama was here telling me that, yeah, it's lightweight, easy to learn. And in fact, I just started. And for your information, by the way, I don't do front-end. And if you find me doing front-end, trust me, it's for fun, not for money, not for work, just for fun. Yeah, so back to DevOps, which I think it's now the backbone of me. Yeah, there is a big story behind DevOps. I think for me to become a DevOps, I had to sacrifice a lot of things. Yeah, on a Thursday, I had to check. It was 2nd of May, 2019, when I shifted and got myself into DevOps and backend generally. Yeah, basically, I'll say in the past, that is from 1st of May, 2019, going back, I was a Java Spring Boot developer. I knew nothing about DevOps. I knew nothing about deploying products. Then it happened. So when I applied for a job for this company, I hope we have members who work there here so that they can know what happened. Yeah, this company called Turnkey Africa. And yeah, so I went there for an interview. Yeah, and yeah, it happened.
Wow,
May
interesting.
2nd.
Just
Yes.
just a bit just a quick sidetrack. For the people who maybe are new developers and have not interacted Vue.js or with any DevOps technologies, how would you like describe what is Vue.js and what is DevOps?
Yeah, sure. So when you talk about Vue.js, these are progressive framework for JavaScript that's used to develop front end. I don't want to talk much about it because I may mislead some people because I'm still learning. But yeah, basically for front-end engineers, they have a couple of frameworks they can choose between. They have Angular, they have React, they have Vue, but I would suggest them to use Vue. Reason being, I have already mentioned, it's very simple to learn. It's lightweight. Performance, in terms of performance, the page loading, whatever loading, we have this, the being lightweight. So when you're loading pages, like, okay, I've deployed applications built in Angular, and when you try to access it for the first time and it has not cached, you'll see that it takes a lot of time to load some images, some pages. But when it comes to Vue, it's very fast, and that's one of the reasons I would suggest them, for those who are getting into front end, to get into Vue directly. Vue. And also, if maybe you are using other frameworks like Angular or React, I think it's very easy to integrate your UI, your Vue UI with other frameworks. So one of the other reasons that I would suggest one to use, Vue. DevOps, it's a culture. I would say that DevOps is about, practices, what we do. It's a culture, yeah? And DevOps being a culture, it has a lot of tools.
Sorry to interrupt. Can you elaborate more on what do you mean by it's a culture?
Yeah. Yeah. When we were studying in high school, they said culture is a way of living or our way of doing things. Yeah. So DevOps is basically a way of doing things, or rather I would say a couple of practices that all are geared towards a certain culture of doing, a culture of doing things. When you say our way, or maybe you talk DevOps, the Atlassian way, so it means the culture that is adopted by Atlassian, or maybe the AWS way, or the other way, or the Azure way, Yeah, so it's a culture which has a lot of tools, or geared towards achieving that one thing, culture. Yeah, so DevOps, as we are or maybe hearing, it's a combination of two words, basically, development and operations. So the reason as to why they are calling it DevOps is because they want to combine the development team and the operation teams. One, when these two teams are in isolation, there are a lot of barriers which prevent, speedy release of products, speedy development, speedy release of, of such things like release of products, release of features, etc. Because one, in isolation, or when working in silos, you lack communication. But when you have that communication, or all of you are integrated or work as one team, you'll create a pipeline which has an end-to-end communication, end-to-end collaboration, and with this, you have a minimal time to release a product, minimal time to design products, etc. Yeah, so basically, as I'm saying, DevOps is a culture with a lot of tools, all geared towards releasing products very fast, building products very fast. Yeah, and with that, when when you bring about that cohesion between teams and make that team or those teams one, you create the thing which I think is adopted mainly across all teams or around many teams globally. The mantra, which they call it, you build it, you ship it, and you run it. Yeah.
Nice. So where you work currently, what are some key projects and responsibilities that you handle? Like some practical things that you do?
Oh, at Acrid, I have a lot of things. First, the team lead for Team Kenya and also for team in Nigeria. And yeah, so a lot of things which cannot even be said here. Yeah, but yeah, amongst the responsibility that I do back in Kenya mostly is currently I'm the team. I'm the only person who is building the backend APIs, who is doing the DevOps part of it, releasing anything now, not just releasing the APIs or deploying the APIs, but basically releasing anything which is built by any other team, the front-end engineers, the data engineers who are now building our ETLs, and now whatever I'm building, that is the APIs, and also aiding the team in Nigeria to release their new products. Yeah, we have another team which is in China. When they build products, you know, okay, we all know that, maybe we don't know, all of us, but worth noting is that mostly in China, they tend to use their products, like if it's cloud, they use Alibaba. If it's what, like for the frameworks for building mobile applications, they use their own framework, that is UniApp. Yeah, so whenever they build applications and you people want to use it, you'll have to like customize it or maybe deploy where you are or closer to where you are. Yeah, so whenever they build some applications for us, I'm responsible for deploying them or releasing them across our cloud environments. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So how do you approach problem solving when you're facing a difficult challenge?
Yeah, that's a very normal thing, I think, to face challenges. Yeah, but I want to be honest, I don't want to answer this question like, you know, it's like an interview job, a job interview. I want to answer this question like, you know, a real developer. What I basically do, I usually take breaks. When you come to, I work at industry area. You can find me walking around the premises because I'm taking a break from that thing which was challenging, and I want to refresh. I won't tell you that, hey, I want to like go into details, study. No. I do take breaks, which I think it's very normal for very many developers. Yeah, I take a break. And as I said, we have so many different categories. We have different categories of engineers in at Acrid. Yeah, so you'll find me walking around the warehouse, interacting with those developers, asking questions. And with that, you know, your mind, my mind have already relaxed. I go back and now tackle the challenge. Basically, that's the thing. But now to answer this in a more professional way, definitely, whatever you are facing, you are not the first person to face that challenge. Somewhere or someone somewhere else has already faced that challenge, and whatever you are facing, maybe it's a bug, somebody somewhere else have already fixed that bug. So what do? The first place to go would be the official documentations. If I'm not understanding, definitely we have Stack Overflow. And if you are not understanding that, we are in the new era of AI. So I have BAD, the closest friend to go to. And again, I think I have friends whom I ask questions. Yeah, you know, it's always good to have friends whom you can call. I have John Kamau here. I have another lady. Where is he? Yeah, we have Elsie. Ask question, you know, doesn't matter. Yeah, so that's the way I approach my problems or taking breaks. That's the thing, taking breaks. Yeah.
Wow, interesting. Can you share a specific challenge maybe you faced on your journey with DevOps or Vue.js and how you overcame that challenge?
Yeah, I won't talk about Vue.js. I'm still learning, to be honest. I've not yet faced any challenge. I have John Kamau who always helps, so not really faced any challenge. But in terms of DevOps, as I said, there's a very big story behind DevOps. Remember, initially I was a Java developer. That was 2019 going backwards. And, you know, I was getting myself into a new field, DevOps, Python, Django, and everything. Okay, maybe to highlight it, when you talk about DevOps, the programming aspect has to be there. A scripting language has to be there. That is either Python, Ruby, or Go. And yeah, I think I didn't choose. The company I went for chose the scripting language, and that was Python. And yeah, so in terms of that, initially, as I said, I was a Java developer. Now think of crossing from Java to Python. You are used to semicolons, going to an environment where you don't use semicolons. That was the greatest challenge. And now this one, not even answering in a professional way, but answering how I went about that one. It was all about learning. Yeah, so that was basically back in 2019. Then I'd already, delved into the environment, into the field. I was already now a pro. And this was now back in 2021 when I was tasked. 2021, I was working for Fuga Africa. And the challenge was when I was introduced to Python, Django REST framework, and now DevOps, I was introduced to Postgres. So Postgres became my friend. And to be honest, right now, apart from Postgres, I understand only SQLite. Yeah, so in 2021, working at Fuga Africa, task number one that I was tasked with was to automate backing up of database. That is, the database was in MySQL. So it was to automate its backup. It's already in cloud. They were using Linode. So I was supposed to write scripts. We were supposed to back up this data from MySQL, take this data from that server, Linode server, and back up this data in Google Drive. This was supposed to be happening daily at 11:30 p.m. Yeah, in fact, it's about to run. It's some hours to run. Yeah, so one, I had no idea how to work with MySQL, how to even back up this one. And it's the new task that I've been tasked with in a company. So I was like, okay, are you even testing me if I can work on this, or are you giving me the job? Yeah, but anyway, I did manage. I worked on it. Yeah, and up to date, it's still backing up the database in my Google Drive. Yeah, so in short, I managed, but it was through learning and, learning without giving up, because, it's a job you are paid for and I had to work. Yeah.
Interesting. Just side note to the community. I can actually see your chat, so sorry, I have not been reading them. So once I'll ask Joseph a few more questions, and then I'll open the platform now for anyone who actually has any questions to directly raise it up and ask him directly. So I'll ask you, you can continue sending in your questions, but please note it down, and then we can now answer all of them one after the other. Yeah, so another question. What piece of advice would you give to your younger self as you start your career?
Yeah, honestly, I would go back to my first year when I think it was in first year when I started learning Linux, which I think is the basic operating system in DevOps and the most used. I think it's the most used. I don't know how many people uses Windows, not unless John Kamau uses Windows. I know him, he uses Windows. But yeah, Linux was what was introduced back in first year by a friend who came to take us through, some learnings that are already in market. So the advice that I would give myself, let's say right now I'm still in first year, I say go with Python, because that was the most hectic part, shifting all, moving from Java to Python. Yeah, so going with Python, because if I knew one day I would become a DevOps engineer, I think Python would be the best language I would have chosen back then.
Oh, interesting, interesting. What about in terms of learning? Like, what are some things you look back on and see maybe I could have done better in terms of how I learned? Like, maybe some things that I could have done that could have eased my journey. Are there such things?
Yeah. Right now they are still disturbing me, to be honest. The K8, the Kubernetes. I think up to date it has almost refused to, be in my head. But yeah, I'm still struggling with it. And yeah, I think if I had mastered it back in 2019, I'd be very good at it right now. But okay, what can you take? Yes, I think why it's not having other options like, say, Docker Compose. I think if the only option was Kubernetes, I would have done better, or maybe I would be doing good or great right now. But yeah, I think if I mastered Kubernetes, I think that is the most thing or the most tech or technology which has denied me a lot of opportunities to work for bigger companies, bigger companies. That is Kubernetes. Yeah, and I think given a chance, I would, take it back and, do it hard.
Wow, that's amazing. On to the last. What strategies or tools have you found most effective for maintaining productivity as a developer? So, as a developer, sometimes you find that, even your work-life balance sometimes may, be a bit shaky. But what have you done for you to remain focused and productive despite everything that may happen around you?
Yeah, sure. I think knowing what you want is the most important thing. Or maybe when I say knowing what you want, there's this aspect of having a positive mindset or a positive competition with your friends. You are there on Twitter, or we can see what is happening on Tech Twitter. We have guys with Mercedes, we have guys with Audi. When you are there and you don't have one of that, you must work hard at least to have one of it so that you can, have also a say when others are arguing. Yeah, so in terms of ensuring productivity work-wise, and also, to maintain that work-life balance. Yeah, okay. We all, maybe most of us believe in Agile, right? And some of us go for Scrum and some of us go for Kanban, right? I am a big evangelist of Kanban, which I think helps me a lot to be productive work-wise. When you have the board, and you see you have a lot of tasks that needs to be accomplished, it needs to be done, that motivates me to keep on working. You don't have to even look at what time is it? Am I supposed to be going home? No. So with Kanban, I think it has helped me a lot to be productive work-wise, because when you think about Scrum, you have these splints. Those things waste a lot of time. Meetings waste a lot of time. Like, since they promoted me to be the lead, I think I'm wasting a lot of time in meetings as compared to when I was just a developer who is just coding, deploying, coding and deploying. Yeah, so, and also in terms of maintaining work-life balance, when you love what you do, when you know what you want, I don't think you can be stressed at all. You also always find time to, relax, interact with your friends, watch movies, etc. And for those of us who maybe wanashika bia moja, you find time for that. You don't have, like when you are a student and you are performing, you don't have to struggle a lot, to do that work, to read, to study. The same applies in work environment. You don't have to struggle a lot. Yeah, I would say that is basically what usually happens to me. Don't struggle a lot. And also, it's always good to know when to stop. Most important. Yeah.
Interesting. Wow. So on to my very, very last question. Then I open it up now to the entire community. So what advice can you give a junior developer who is transitioning from junior to mid to senior? Like, how would you characterize that transition, and what milestones should you get to in order for you to be able to be confident enough to say, okay, now I've been a junior developer for X amount of time. Now I believe I am now an intermediate developer, or now I am a senior developer. How would you characterize that transition?
Yeah, sure. Was it how would I advise junior developers, or how would I characterize? You've lost me.
How would you, both of them, both of them.
All right, let's start with advising. Guys, note, I'm not motivating anyone. I'm not a motivational speaker. I'm saying this. Now, for those who are junior developers or maybe junior DevOps engineers, it's always nice to note that we have a lot of tools, we have a lot of languages, we have a lot of frameworks which almost do the same thing. Now, it's not your work as a junior developer to ensure you know all of them. Sometimes, you become a slave, or maybe you become a jack of all trades. And by that does not work well in software engineering. Just master one thing. Stop, being a jack of all trades. You lost yourself. Then when you go for an interview, you don't even know what to answer here or what not to answer here. Yeah, so I would say, or I would advise them to stick. If you chose the Python Django or Python Flask framework, go with that. Or say maybe you chose Python, go with Python with all its frameworks. Now be a jack of all those frameworks, but not Python, Java, PHP. No, just stick to one language, then master that language before you move to the framework. Then when you move to the framework, just don't just move by the way. Look, okay, do your own research. The framework that I want to delve into, is it marketable? Is it, used by most people? Does it have a community support? Because it's not always, again, it's not good to, get into a framework which does not have community support. Then you'll be suffering around here saying, you are a master or you are a pro developer here, but suffering. Yeah, so master one language, but be maybe a jack of all frameworks under that language. Then when it comes to DevOps, I believe DevOps starts with CI/CD. And in that, we have a couple of platforms which offer CI/CD. We have Circle CI, we have Jenkins, Travis CI, we have TeamCity, Bamboo. Like all those tools, decide which one do I want to go with. But before you decide this is what I want to go with, do your own research. How many companies are using the platform that I want to go with? Also for the cloud, we have AWS, we have GCP, we have the Azure. Decide where you yourself, like which one is marketable. But I believe in cloud, you can go with any platform in cloud. But now remember, cloud, you'll provision cloud, you'll work with infrastructure as code. Now it's upon you to now do your own research to decide now upon these tools or among these tools, which one is commonly used. And maybe a piece of advice on the same, go for the tools which support multi-cloud. Like for instance, if you choose to go with CloudFormation for provisioning your AWS infrastructure, that will limit you now when it comes to provisioning GCP or maybe Azure. So go for multi-cloud tools like Terraform, we have Pulumi, we have Ansible, Puppet, Chef, etc. Yeah, so do your research, but also remember, for these tools, you can't use all of them together. You'll be exhausted or you become a slave of yourself. Yeah. Now, in terms of characteristics of maybe someone who is transitioning from junior to mid-level to senior, I think from a junior, it's not even the number of years you've worked. It's about your own confidence. If you believe you can, it's all about believing as a developer, because if you have that, though I think the imposter syndrome affects almost everyone, not even almost, it affects everyone. Everyone has imposter syndrome, but it's all about you now believing and that you can, you can deliver something. And also, you can live alone. We have so many companies which are advertising for for the jobs. Then they'll say 10 to 15, 8 to 10 years of experience, live around those ones. We have international companies also. We have, by the way, we also have local startups, which I think, quote unquote startups, zimeomoka kimawazo. They understand what it means, to be a developer who can, deliver. It's not about the number of years you have in the field, but can you really deliver? Because I believe right now we have engineers who have been into the industry for more than 20 years, but go and take a small task, a basic Python task, they'll not even do it. They don't know how to do it. They just, because whatever they are doing now on those levels, it's something else, building things, not just thinking in terms of, building some data structures or designing algorithms, performance, etc. But I would say, for a junior developer, you've already worked for maybe 6 months, you are okay. If you really remember what I said, you mastered one language and its frameworks, and you believe you can, you can deliver. Then if you can also do an interview and pass, then what prevents you from, calling yourself a mid-level engineer? Then if you are in mid-level engineering, okay, I think what mostly categorizes the seniority in engineering or in software engineering, it's all about leadership. Can you lead? Can you act like a project manager? Can you, can you be a team lead? That's the most important thing. Can you lead others? Can you guide junior developers? Can you also guide mid-level engineers? That's the thing. So in terms of transitioning from junior to mid, I don't think there is a lot. It's just the names. But when it comes to now the senior level, it's about the leadership. That's the thing.
Wow, interesting. Very, very insightful. So now I will open up the floor to the community. Now, I'll actually start off with some questions that were asked in the chat. So briefly tell us, how can you start in DevOps? Just briefly.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, as we said, in DevOps now, first, let me just, it's all about categorizing this thing. You want to be a DevOps engineer of delivering what type of applications? Mobile applications, or do you want to be delivering like, web applications? Because with that, you have to have a starting point. Let me just state the most common one, which is web applications. To start with, at least have that aspect, not even at least, you must be conversant with a scripting language, one of your own choice, or one of your choosing. That is either Python, Ruby, or Go. But again, you'll have to ask yourself which one is more marketable or which one is used by most companies, because, if most companies are using it, it means chances of you getting the job are also, many. Then again, when you have that scripting language, now think about a cloud platform. Cloud platform, we said you can choose either. Then from there, remember, this is a cloud. You are talking about a server and a machine. Now you'll need to provision that server. And to do that, you now have to think about the tools for doing that. Which one will you use? Do you know, you'll have to use Ansible, you'll have to use Terraform, Pulumi. So with this now, there is another language which you need to, understand. It's a very nasty language called YAML, yet another markup language. You'll have to understand that one. It's not an excuse. You'll have to understand YAML. And okay, when it comes to configuration management, think about now the three main languages. We have YAML, we have TOML, and we have INI. Yeah, so think of those three languages, understand them. Then with that, choose the tools which supports them. Then from there, think about networking. Because if you talk about cloud, you must talk about networking. So look at networking, TCP/IP, UDP, VPC, all those things. Yeah, then also think about Linux, because in DevOps, it's all about writing scripts, it's all about using SSH to, talk to your servers. Yeah, so SSH, talk about scripting, talk about Linux, those are the things. But yeah, yeah, I would share that, but okay. Yeah, so another thing, it's now, when you talk about DevOps, we are talking about building, testing, and releasing. In each and every category, we have tools. For building, in terms of DevOps, we are talking about tools like Docker, Docker Compose, Kubernetes, Helm, and those things. Yeah, then in terms of testing, we're talking about a tool like Selenium. We're talking about the CI/CD platform, Circle CI, Travis, Bamboo, those things. Then in terms of releasing, you're not talking about the infrastructure as code. You have Terraform, you have Pulumi, you have Ansible. Then you have Puppet and Chef. So talk of those things. Then remember, when you build and ship, you have to run that application. Think about now the monitoring tools, like we have New Relic, we have Grafana, we have Prometheus, we have the ELK, we have the Tick Stack. Think about those things. Yeah, that is just the thing that you need to think about. That whole process, it has a lot of tools, but now each and every category, choose the tools which are commonly used. I think that would be the best thing to tell someone who wants to start into DevOps.
Wow, amazing. Yeah, so I'd like to ask Rick, kindly, are you able to rephrase your question from the context, right? And I know you said it as he was actually talking, but are you able to, put it all in a question now you can answer?
Sorry, are you asking me?
No. I'm asking Rick.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so I'll now proceed now to open the floor. Kindly raise your hand if you have a question for Joseph. Or you can also type it in the chats. Okay, as we get some more questions, Joseph, I'd like you to tell us how was your beginning, like when you're starting out, how was that like? You mentioned the kind of pressure that people have right now. But when you're starting out, what are some challenges you faced early on in the early days?
Yeah, with that, I think when it came to starting into, or maybe getting now regular jobs, or, when you apply, you don't just get, unfortunately, we moved with another candidate. The most important thing, I think, is where you work as an intern, or your first company, which now trains you to be the thing you are. And I think working at Savannah Informatics was one of the most important things that ever happened in my life, because, when interviewing for any other company and you mention Savannah, for those of us maybe who have had for those who had a chance to maybe interact with guys from Savannah, you'll notice that it's a very serious company when it comes to its developers. You have to be like a 10x developer. You are forced. You have to be by force, by fire. And yeah, so I wouldn't say that I had a lot of challenges. I think the only problem I had initially was that I was applying for international organizations or companies, and yet I did not have all those required skills. And that was something, so embarrassing to me that I'm getting, the unfortunate messages. But I think for any developer or for any DevOps engineer who is here starting or even applying for jobs, it's always good to start low, to start with smaller companies, quote unquote, not smaller companies, but yeah, a smaller company in terms of, in terms of the number of employees, the number of years that company has been there. And again, by the way, to be honest, you are a young developer going for a Fortune 500 company to work there as a developer. You won't be getting a lot. You won't be learning. The only thing that you'll be doing in that company is earning. And okay, I believe in you as a young developer building your resume as early as of now. Leave alone the money. The money will come, but build your resume as early as of now. And with that, you can only learn in a smaller company, in a startup. But again, note, I'm not saying go for a company which is taking advantage of you, not paying you so that you can learn. No. Yes, you are earning, but again, make sure you are learning. The most important phase in a junior engineer is to learn, not to earn. It's to learn. Yeah.
Wow, that's actually quite important. When it's during your early days, learn first. Don't chase money in your first days.
Yeah, just learn.
Yeah, but also the caveat: don't be taken advantage.
Yeah,
don't
that's
be
the
the
most
spy.
important.
So there's this meme about people who work in restaurants, of where they eat versus where they work, and in that photo there's a label of the 5-year intern eating with CEOs. Yeah, so please don't be a 5-year intern unless you're
Yeah,
being remunerated. So that's very well. Yeah, amazing. Any more questions from the community? Elizabeth. Yeah, Elizabeth, feel free to unmute and ask your question. Okay, so.
Yes, you can hear me.
Yes, now I can hear you.
Thank you, Joseph, for being here. So my question is, what is your process of problem solving? When I got to this role, I thought it was all about the tools. So, you have Terraform, you know this, you know how to deal with this, but then unafika kwa ground and you have to understand what is the problem before you kind of start, using the tools. So I wanted to know if you have a process. What do you do before you get now to work on the issues?
Yeah, sure. Now, before you start building any software or even releasing, maybe we mistake releasing from building. It's a process of software engineering or a process of software development life cycle. Yeah, SDLC. It's in there, that release. And before you do that, you'll have to have those issues on your board, what you'll need to do step by step. If you have already written your Terraform templates, why are you writing those? Why are you creating a VPC? why are you creating an EC2, or why are you creating a VM instance, a Google VM instance? You know, not just creating them because they are being created, not just using a tool because it's there to be used. You have to understand, why am I using it? Like for instance, a good example to give is, you have Docker and you have Docker Compose. You understand? Okay, like when you are building local, you can just decide to use Docker, a bare Docker image, and run it using the Docker run command. But you can also choose to use Docker Compose to orchestrate that image now into a service. So which would be the most convenient way to go with? Maybe using Docker Compose. Then you have a lot of the same approach. You have Docker Compose, but okay, now you want to deploy this application, and say you have already done that. It's already deployed, it's running. But you realize that you have a lot of users who needs to use this application that you've deployed. So you need to like have load balancers, you need to do that, you need to do this, because you need, you also need to have that capability of holding more clients or users. So would you still maintain using Docker Compose, or now you'll go to Kubernetes? You see, now when it comes to that, you still have to draw it on a board. Why do I need to use this? Why do I need to use that? Yeah, basically that. Not like saying you have a process, or maybe you have a workflow that you follow, but understanding at that particular moment, which tool do I need to use? Like, let me give another maybe dummy example. You know, for you to access a server, you can either use Telnet or SSH. You want to deploy an application. Will you still use Telnet to access that server? No, you'll use SSH, knowing what tool to use at what time and why to use it. Why? The question or the point is why. I hope I've answered you, Elizabeth. All right.
Absolutely. Good. Kelvin, there you go.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, thanks, Joseph. I have a question, though it's not related to development or DevOps. So I came in a bit late, and you were talking about where you work. You mentioned something to do with electric vehicles and motorcycles.
Yeah.
I'm more curious about it. So I would like to know whether it's possible to, to walk in and window shop and see what you guys have.
Yeah.
Secondly, maybe the specifications. For example, the cheapest motorcycle you have, how long does it go on a full charge? How much power does it take to charge it full, up to full capacity, and stuff like that? Just more details about it.
All right. Thank you for asking that about Arcade. Yeah. In terms of coming to do some window shopping, yeah, you are most welcome. I think I'll just drop my work email here on the chat. Then I can answer the other question. Yeah, that's my email. You can reach out to me. That is for booking your, your availability, or you coming to the company, so that I can tell the team we have a visitor who is coming, etc. Yeah, so in terms of the types of vehicles we have, or the types of motorbikes we have, currently we have, I say 3 categories, 2 categories. That is the 2-wheel, in fact, it's 3. 2-wheeled, in two categories. We have a bicycle, which is electric. So full electric, an electric bicycle. Then we have electric motorbikes, which have categories. Then we have tuk-tuk. If a tuk-tuk, we just have one version. For bicycle, we have only one version. For bicycles, we have around 4 versions. We have version 1, which is scooter version 1. We have version 2, which is like a TVS model. We call it Iboda. Then we have scooter version 2, which is our version 3 of the two-wheeled motorbikes. Yeah, the newest one, which is called Corbett. It's a scooter. Yeah, you can come over and see it. Then we have another one, which we've not launched yet, so I won't say about it. But if you come to the company, you'll see it. In terms of charging, I don't think you have to worry about charging, the amount of time it takes to charge, the amount of power it takes to charge, because as a company, we are selling the motorbike, we are not selling the battery. The same aspect where now you buy a vehicle, not a petrol station. Yeah, I hope it makes sense. Yeah, we are not selling batteries, we are just selling motorbikes. The reason being, we want to like maintain an ecosystem of batteries. If that battery, if that battery have issues, we eliminate it from the ecosystem. If the battery's life is over, we also eliminate it from the ecosystem without you having to worry about the battery that, its life is done or it's bad or it's depleting the power very fast. All you just need to worry about is your motorbike. Then again, in terms of the time it takes to charge, just worry about you and accessing the swap station. It's the only thing that you should worry about, because when the battery you are using depletes, all you need to do is to swap with another one which is fully charged, without you thinking or having to worry about the time it will take to charge. Again, we will be having around 300 swap stations around Nairobi. So this is around 1.5 kilometers apart. When you have one here, 1.5 kilometers away, you have another substation. So you don't have to worry about, where to swap or the time it takes to charge. Again, the question of the cheapest one, we have the Iboda, the cheapest one. I think right now going between 75 and 100K. So if you come and unifurahishe naweza sema uziwe pia 70 ama 75 ama 80, so you can choose to come. Then for Corbett, it's going for 185,000. For electric motor, not motor, for electric bicycle, it's going for 99,000, just 99,000. Then you have tuk-tuk going for 300K, etc. Yeah, what else did you ask? In terms of range, it takes around, it can cover 75 kilometers when fully charged, 75 kilometers. Then another thing maybe I need to address is the swapping charges. Each and every swap goes for 180 bob. That is for one swap, but you can decide to pay 350 to do unlimited swaps per day, or you can decide to pay 9,000 upfront, then you do unlimited swaps for a whole month. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, okay, I can see we have a question from Kapkori. You are asking if you are to choose between shell script and Python script, which would you choose and why? I'll go for Python. And as I said, okay, I know we have Bash, we have PowerShell scripts, but Python here, you'll have to notice the power of Python. when it comes to like, you want to do, what do I call them? To do a progressive or iterative, no, not talking about the object-oriented part of Python, talking about the scripting aspect of Python. When you talk about that, you have a library which is responsible for that. Talk about, leave around just writing a pure script, which is a bash script with Python. You have a library called Fabric, which is used for automation. When you're doing any scripting language, scripting language in DevOps, you are doing it in order to promote automation. The best one to go with, I'm saying it's Python, not Shell, Python, because you have that very powerful library called Fabric. It's called a one-off command library, very nice one. You look at it and maybe see. I've already dropped my email there. If you have issues or maybe more questions, that is Levis, you can ask them there. I think I can answer on that. Why Python and why Python and why Python. See if we have other questions up here. Yeah, from Rick is saying, is your company accepting interns, either backend DevOps or front-end engineers? Oh, Rick, I would suggest remove that unpaid thing in there, not unless, no, nothing like unpaid. In Nairobi, what do you want to eat if you do unpaid internship, to be honest? Yeah, so you have my email there, reach out to me. We can see what we can do with that. Not that I'm promising we have opportunities, but just reach out.
Another question from Mark.
Oh, Mark. No,
I
okay.
guess.
Okay, Mark, to be honest, in my company, we use Angular and React. That is for fronted. We use both of them, by the way. We use Angular where we can and React where we must. And in terms of mobile applications, we use UniApp. So in terms of Vue, I said Vue, I do it for fun. It's for me, not the company. It's me. DevOps is for the company, but Vue is mine. Yeah.
Oh, nice, amazing. Yeah, so thank you, Joseph, for making time. And thank you to everybody for joining for this year, our first weekly series for this year. And this will now be happening every week on Thursdays from 8 to 9. So what I can promise you is it's going to get better and better. So always stay tuned. Follow us on social media. Follow us on Twitter, Kenya View. Follow us. If you're not on our WhatsApp group, kindly side chat so we can add you to that. And I believe you're all following us on Meetup because that's how you gained access to this link. Yeah, so with that, I'd like to say thank you and yeah, cheers. Unless there's anyone else with anything else. Josh? Lenny?
Hey Brian, how are you?
Good, good.
Yeah, I just like what we've been taught here by our good friend Mr. Joseph. I think outside chatting to ask him a few difficult questions because I'm a huge fan of K8s and orchestration and what do you call it? Don't know if he's used some tools that automate concurrent requests, but yeah, all in all, it was a very good chat. I loved it. I like the point of never do unpaid work in Nairobi. Yeah, I think that's it for me. Just thank you for everybody for coming out, for showing your interest, and as Brian has said, this is the first of many series that are going to be happening on a every Thursday. And yeah, our intention is to go into a journey of where we shall grow each other and grow by the day or even by the week, and make sure that at least we become the best and we become experts at what we do. Yep.
Yeah. Once again, thank you guys. Thank you for joining. This was a first of weekly sessions. Be sure that the next sessions will be more technical. We believe that this being the first
Did you lose Josh?
I believe so. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. My mic muted. Sorry, guys. So yeah, as I was saying, let's feel free to join our Meetup account and our WhatsApp account. You can always DM our Twitter account, which is being handled by Brian. You can find me on Twitter as well. You can DM me. I can help you with that. My Twitter handle is Josh Riggs, as most of you may know or may not know. Yeah, and see you guys next Thursday for a more technical session and a more and thrilling session. So yeah, stay tuned. Join our Meetup account to be informed and stay informed on what our next topic will be. Again, asanteni sana, and we're gonna call it a wrap.
Yes.